Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the next installment of our New Year, New You Learn and Grow series with Trustbridge. My name is Cantor Kurt Schmidt, and I serve at Zion Evangelical Lutheran Church in Deerfield Beach, Florida. Delighted that you're here with us this evening. If you're joining us live on Facebook, if you're watching this later on, delighted that you are catching this video and excited about learning about what it means to embrace abundance. And as always, I'm joined here by my friend and my colleague, Ana Cristina Ojeda from Trustbridge. She is the Director of Community Outreach. And I'm going to turn it over to Ana to introduce our presenter tonight. If you have questions or comments, I invite you to use the chat function on Facebook Live. I'll be monitoring that as the presentation occurs, and we'll share periodically what I see there in the chat. So don't be shy, share away, and I know we're going to have a wonderful evening. So thank you, Ana. Thank you, Joe, for being here. Ana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you again for having us. It's our pleasure to be here. Some of you already know me. My name is Ana Cristina Ojeda. I'm from Trustbridge. We offer hospice and palliative care in Broward County and Palm Beach County. And today we're going to be talking about abundance. And we have our very special guest, Mr. Joe Hamilton, here with us. Today he's going to take the lead in the presentation, and he will be teaching you some special techniques to bring abundance into your life. So take it away, Mr. Joe.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. And hopefully by the end of the talk, you'll be able to have some tools with you to attract abundance. So a little bit about my background. The reason I teach these techniques, these breathwork techniques and these meditation techniques, I've been trained for many years, 20, 30 years in these techniques, and I'm certified. I had to take a test and everything to get this done. I am a licensed massage therapist, meditation teacher, and I came to hospice because I had 3 medical clinics in Palm Beach County for 20 years, massage medical clinics. And my wife's a nurse. One of the doctors working with me recruited her. They recruited me. I fell in love with the techniques, and I started working with patients at the end of life. And I really enjoyed this. I've been with many people at the end of life using a lot of these techniques to help them get through the process and the families. And I've been working there now. It's going on 14, 15 years. And I'm able to share these techniques with people, not just on this venue, but on radio and throughout the community, in the hospitals, nursing homes, and so on. It's a little different now for me to be not teaching in person, but it is what it is. And here we go with the abundance. All right, so first of all, abundance. Abundance comes in many ways, right? What is abundance? Abundance means you want a lot of something, right? And people think, the first thing people think of is money, right? That's the first thing. I want money. But abundance can be a lot of different things. One is love. Some people, even though they love, some people don't feel loved, especially now with the pandemic and everybody's stuck and they don't have that interaction. It's real easy to lose that feeling. So a lot of people may want that form of abundance. Next is health. It's hard to feel some kind of sense of getting abundance if you're not healthy. It's hard to even think if you're not healthy, right? Next is wealth. Of course, that's the main thing. When I say wealth, it could be a wealth of a lot of different things, but most of the time people are thinking of money. And of course we need money. You can't live in this society without money. So anything that you desire in abundance will change into something really good for you. And don't try to figure out how it's going to happen as we go on. I'll show you that. But I'm just giving you different types of abundance so you get an idea of it's not just one particular thing. Happiness. We all want to be happy, right? So a lot of this, when you have these things that are coming into your life, especially things you need, you're happier. When you're happier, you're healthier. When you're healthier, you're holier, right? That's usually how it works. It's hard to be even joyful. Joy is the next one. If you don't have many of these basic needs. So abundance can mean a lot of different things. It doesn't mean you're selfish. You want to grab. It just means you need an abundance of balance these things out so you can lead a happy and joyful life. What does joy mean? How do you know you're joyful? Joyful is an expression of love, health, wealth, happiness being balanced. And you'll know joy by what you see that's not joyful, right? That's how you'll know. So the abundance of love, health, wealth, happiness, joy, and spirituality. So people, as much as they think they're spiritual or want to be spiritual, it's hard to have that spiritual feeling when all these things are out of balance, when there's not an abundance of these things coming in on a balanced way. So it's very hard to have joy and spirituality if you don't, your spiritual nature is off, right? So you can go to church and you can go here and you can pray, but if it's not authentic and you're not open to the process, the spirituality makes it hard to experience. It's easy to say, and it's not that you're not, but you'll see as these things come into your life naturally, it'll enhance all these different aspects of your life. Okay, very good. So the first step to abundance is reducing your stress. Stress is physically can stop abundance. Why? Can that happen? Because what happens is if you get a bottle of water and it's filled and I undo the cap and pour water in it, what's going to happen? If it has water in it already, it's just going to overflow, right? This is what happens with us. We let stress come in and come in and come in to the point where people say, I've had it up to here, not here or not around their knees. They say here, right? Because it's overflowing. So people always ask me, Joe, why do bad things happen to good people? And I tell them, because there's no room. You're full of stress. You're full. So you have to be able to reduce your stress levels to become empty enough to be able to accept the abundance that's coming into your life. Okay? So I'm going to give you some tools tonight to be able to create this naturally. One is breath. I'm going to give you some breathing techniques. Don't worry how you're going to remember this. I'm going to show you at the end how you'll remember. Number two, sound. I'm going to give you a way to use sound to tune your nervous system in order to balance things out with the breath. Next, silence. So the first two, breath and sound, enable you to go silent naturally. If I said, okay, everybody be quiet and just relax and let's all meditate. People would be jerking around and moving around. It's hard because we have so much on our minds. Our minds mess with us, right? We have social media, TV, and all this information. So if you're going to start the abundance process, reduce stress, it has to be natural. Okay, so by using breath work, you can naturally become aware, authentic, and a complete rest. What does that mean to be aware? So when you breathe and you exhale at that end of that moment, that's your authentic self, and because you're at complete rest, right? And authentic is important. Let me get back to authentic. What does it mean to be authentic? It means to be real, doesn't it? So there's so many times that we are so bogged down with things that we lose our sense of awareness, which means we lose our sense of authenticity. Example, you're walking down the hall at work or wherever, and you see Bill coming down the hall. And you say, hey, Bill, how's it going, man? Bill says, terrible, Joe. My son's in the hospital with pneumonia. Good to see you again, Bill. And Bill, what? What did I say? He said his son's in the hospital with pneumonia. Oof. Now I really hurt Bill. Did I mean to hurt Bill? No. I lost my sense of authenticity because I lost my sense of awareness. What I should have done, taken a breath and said, oh, I'm sorry, Bill. Is there anything I can do? He probably would have said, no, but thank you. Never forgot that. That's authenticity, right? So the breath helps you stay authentic, aware, and at complete rest. Just one breath. So we'll get into what happens when you breathe more than one breath. Okay. Now the goals for achieving abundance is to relax. That's the first one. Now, what does it mean to relax? Some people say, oh, I like to go to the beach. I like to do this. I like to shop online, whatever it is. People have their different ideas of relax, but truly relax. What does that mean? It's hard to explain. So let's do a little experiment. Everybody take your hands, palms up, put it on your lap, palms up. Now, when I ask you to, I want you to close your eyes we're going to take a deep breath in, hold the breath slightly, and as you exhale, verbally say the word relax on the exhale. Ready? Deep breath in, hold the breath, and out, relax. Again, deep breath in, hold the breath, out with the word relax, relax. Good. Again, deep breath in, hold the breath, out with the word relax, relax. Very good. You may notice a little shift, a little change just in those 3 breathing techniques right there. But one thing I notice when I'm out and about and I teach this technique, I ask everybody to do this technique and I say, what do you experience? Well, a little this, a little of that. And what I see them do is this. Almost everyone raises their shoulders. And then when they say relax, they go relax. And some people are real dramatic. They go relax. They get real dramatic about relax. Now, I never said do this, raise your shoulders, do this, bob your head around when you relax. I just said breathe in, hold the breath, and exhale. Why? Because it's a natural process of what happens to your body in that breath as you go down, as your body starts to relax. So the first thing is relax. You start to relax, your shoulders will go up. I don't say put them up, but they went up naturally. And as you exhale, you start to let go. They start to drop. You start to sink. Next is you enjoy that. Why? What does enjoy mean? How can you enjoy something? How do you even know you're happy? Why do you call yourself happy? People will say, oh, because I laugh a lot. I do good things. I'm happy. What does it mean? Oh, I'm happy. That's what it means. No, you can only say you're happy if you know what unhappy is. If you know the difference. If I use that word enjoy in my breathing techniques to relax me, and what does that mean? It means up here is not as enjoyable as down here, right? If you're way up here, that's not enjoyable down here. Now, there's a lot of people that don't even realize that they're that uptight. They go around like that. I was giving a talk at a hotel. There was 100 or so people there, and I was giving a talk on massage techniques with breath for family and friends that can help people, a short one, with migraines or headaches, or that can relax them, right? So I was talking about the breath and relaxation. This guy yells out in the back, I don't need this. I don't need to relax. I'm okay. I said, okay, why are you here? He said, my wife made me come. I said, all right, so can you come up here for a second? Then I'll let you go. He goes, okay. I said, face her. Now, when he came up, he was like this. He's walking up with his shoulders around his ears. He turns to everybody, and I said, okay, do me a favor. Take 3 deep breaths and exhale on each one. And then when you're done, you can leave. He goes, good. After the 3rd breath, he let go. I said, oh, you can go. And he goes, good. He walks, he starts walking. He's like, oh my God. He couldn't believe the difference. He said, I didn't realize, and people were laughing and everything. I didn't realize I was that uptight. And of course, his wife yells out, I told you so. And his shoulders were right back up. I said, thanks, lady. Anyway, so this guy was so impressed with the experience he had. He became a meditation teacher. Now he trains teachers on how to do these techniques. So you want to relax. You start to let go. You enjoy that feeling. And then there's no judging. Why is judging so stressful? Judging is really stressful because normally when we judge somebody or something, we're wrong. And we do it all the time. You don't think we do. You see your neighbor, oh, look at him. He hasn't shaved. He's got bags under his eyes. He's probably been drinking and God knows what else. And the neighbor said, well, how do you know? I said, well, look at him. You can, no, Joe, he's been up all night with his wife's been sick. Oops. Now, what happens? Now you made the guy uptight because he knows you're talking about him. You made the person you were talking and judging them about uptight, right? Because she's uptight about it. She knows the difference. And now you're uptight because you created it. Now, judging on a larger scale can cause prejudice, war, isn't it? When you judge people, it can cause negative things. So you take a deep breath, you start to let go, you enjoy that feeling. There's no judging. You can't judge because why? You're in the present moment. Totally in the present moment. When you're totally in the present moment, you can't be judging. You can't be in the past. You can't be in the future wondering what's going to happen. That's when you become totally authentic, right? And what does it mean to be in the moment? Why does this, and this is just one breath. What happens, have you ever noticed when a basketball player and they're ready to shoot, they're at the line and the game is on the line. What do? If they get this shot, they win, they go to the championship, they breathe in, then they shoot. Someone is getting ready to give a talk, they give a talk. We do this all the time, right? Because it centers you and puts you square in the moment. So next time Bill is in the hall, is there anything I can do? I'm sorry. You see, because now you're totally with Bill. You're not with Bill thinking, did you turn the coffee pot off? Because Bill won't believe you. And then you lose your credibility. This is why this all has to go so the abundance can come in, because it gets rid of all that stuff. It empties that water bottle we were talking about and allows more water to come in and out. It's a give and take. Very good. All right, now I'm going to show you breathing techniques. And I want to start out by, what I'd like you to do is these techniques one time a day. When I get done teaching these techniques with the breath work and give you a few minutes of silence, it should only take you about 12 minutes a day. But I'm going to also show you at the end how to enhance the abundance with this, okay? Now, if you do it, the more you do it, try to do it for 40 days so you actually can see changes, because it'll be physical changes and also other changes that'll happen in your life. All right, so the first technique is called grounding breath. And I'll give you a little research on each one of them. Not totally, because I can give all kinds of, I can give a talk on just all the research on this. But the grounding breath is going to ground you emotionally. Now, when you do the next few sets, including this one, when you start out, I want you to do at least 5 reps, right? For each one. So it doesn't mean, so that means if you do the first one, you don't do 5 and 4 and 3 and 2, because you're trying to establish a rhythm in your body, like muscle memory. Now, if you can't do 5, try to do at least 3, because it's a matter of quality, not quantity, okay? So here's how we do the grounding breath. All right, your hands are palms up on your lap. Put your hands together in prayer position. Put your right hand under your wrist, on your left, like this. Now, as you breathe in, bring your hand up and breathe in. This hand will go down near your navel area. At the top, hold your breath, then exhale through the nose, in and out through the nose, out through the nose. Bring this one up, touch, and switch. And then palms, slowly, palms up on your lap. Now, make sure that it's in and out through the nose, and you do it not too slow, but not too fast. And then when you bring your palms down, just relax. What this does is balance the left and right hemisphere of the brain and ground you emotionally. Now, you can take this technique out during the day if you're having an emotional, stressful day. And I would teach this to the nurses, or if I was dealing with a heavy case at hospice. And I remember being with this one kid who had just passed away that I was with, and I had to do 2 more, heavy sessions. And so I grounded myself, and then I was able to continue. So you can use it however you want, even separately. But this is part of your training here for the abundance. All right, first one is the grounding breath. Next is deep abdominal breathing. Now, most people, when they take a deep breath in, they suck their tummy in for some reason. And the statistics show that most of us only breathe from like our chest area up. And this can cause problems, because eventually you can get, high blood pressure and so on and so forth from that. So you want to go deep. What this will do is open up the lower, middle, and upper lobes of the lungs, these next few breathing techniques. This will open up the lower. So when you breathe in, you're going to expand your stomach, push your stomach out, even exaggerate it. And then as you exhale, at the end of the exhalation, you'll squeeze your tummy in, then relax, and then repeat. Why? Because it's just like if you have a balloon, you have to stretch the balloon out before it can expand, right? So as you expand the lower, middle, and upper lobes, you can breathe. You'll see the difference, and it's a lot healthier for you to get that oxygen down deep. Okay, so put your hands, palms up. Palms up means you're open to the process. That's what it means. So it's like code. I'm open to the process. All right. So breathe, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, push your tummy out, expand it, hold the breath, exhale through the nose, not the mouth. At the end of the exhalation, squeeze your tummy in and relax. Let's do one more. Deep breath in, out, the tummy, exhale, squeeze your tummy in and relax. Good. Now you're going to get a lot of good oxygen there. You might feel relaxed already because we don't realize how we don't get, most of us don't get that oxygen that deep. But as you practice, it'll be a natural thing, right? So you did the grounding breath, deep abdominal. Next, alternate nostril breath. Okay. So this is, I'll give you the research on this, and then extra research that has come out out of some places in India in the East. But how you want to do this technique is this. You take your right hand and you're going to use your thumb and your ring finger. You're going to close off your right nostril, not like this, but like this. And you're going to breathe in your left, hold it, put the ring finger, stop that, exhale through that right. Now keep it there, inhale through the right, close that off, exhale through the left. And then put your palms down. Now, what's really good, this is good for relaxing your heart rate, and also it's good for lowering blood pressure. It's been known to do that. It's also good for balancing right and left hemispheres of the brain. And now some of the research coming out of a medical group in India had been studying this technique that says that if you do this for long periods of time, it has helped with people that have asthma and diabetes and so on, because it's a very powerful getting your oxygen in that way. It streamlines right from throat down into the heart area. And out. Breathe in. And out. And then slowly your palms back up. Now, when you're doing this, try to make sure your sinuses are clear, right? Because you don't want to be doing it. You'll get a headache and then you'll blame me for it. So don't do that. Make sure it's clear so you can get the air going in and out. I remember I was doing a talk at an orthopedic office with nurses, and we were doing this one, and all of a sudden we heard, I said, what is that? And one nurse said, I think it's me. She didn't have enough air to get through there, so it was making a whistling sound. So make sure that's clear, okay? And also, as you're going through these techniques, take a pause before you go to the next one, because you don't want to do, like this, and then you're hyperventilating. So it's not too long. You don't want to take forever, because if you're, if it's 20 minutes into this and you're still doing this, you're asleep. You wake yourself up and start over again. So you do the grounding breath, palms on your lap, deep abdominal breath, palms on your lap, and just relax. Alternate nostril, relax. I remember one of the doctors came to me and he said, Joe, can I see you for a second? I said, I think my blood pressure, I took it, it's high. Give me something, give me. I gave him this. He took it all, it went right down, evened out. So these things work. That's why I teach them. So you're getting the same kind of teaching here with these techniques that I use with the doctors and staff, and then of course the public. Okay, grounding breath, deep abdominal breath, alternate nostril breath. Next, pat on the back, I call this one. So you take your hands and you go like this, like you're gonna pat yourself on the back. So your elbows are up. You'll take a deep breath in, hold the breath, exhale. And at the end of the exhalation, again, tuck your tummy in and relax. And then bring your hands down after your 5 reps or your 3 and down. So it's grounding breath, deep abdominal breath, alternate nostril, pat on the back. Grounding breath, deep abdominal breath, alternate nostril, pat on the back. Okay, very good. Those are your breathing techniques. Now, getting ready for meditation after that. You're halfway there. Meditation, we'll get into meditation, but you want to start with these techniques because it reduces your stress, clears your mind, and gets you a chance to do this process naturally. You can't force anything. If I just came to a talk and said, listen, we're going to talk about abundance, but you got to relax. So just relax. I said, relax. Would you relax? No, you wouldn't. You'd be more uptight. So when you try something, what we resist, persists, right? And it's always a true thing. So it has to be natural. Okay, very good. So we're going to use what's called a primordial sound. What is primordial sound? Primordial sound is a vibration that regulates the nervous system and helps the body and mind experience calm and complete rest. So these are sounds that have been around for a long time, since creation, actually. And what they do is like tune your nervous system in your body. We use these sounds all the time, as you'll see in a minute, but we don't realize that, we can actually use them to not let our environment control us, but we can control what's happening. We're in control. We're not out of control. So an example of these are basic sounds, basic primordial ancient sounds of your nervous system, of who you are. One is ah. So it goes like ah, just like that, right? So we use it all the time. We just don't realize it. You go home and you go to relax, you get in a hot tub or the pool or whatever, have a glass of wine and right? We do it all the time because it's relaxing. It makes us feel good when we make that sound. Why else would we make that sound? The next sound is ooh. Ooh. Like that. It's a tuning fork. It balances your nervous system and calms you down. We use that all the time as well. We see something we like, ooh. Right? We use these all the time. We don't think about it. The next one is ma or the M sound. So it's either ma or and we use that all the time, right? When you eat something good, you or when a baby cries, what do people do? They hum. They use that M sound. And what happens? The baby slowly stops to relax. Why? Because he's thinking, wow, this guy can really hum. No, it's relaxing the nervous system, which relaxes the body. So ah, ooh, and ma is a sound we're going to use before we go into silence. So between the breath, right? Between the ah, ooh, ma sound that we'll do, we'll be able to be quiet. What's the key word? Authentically. Authentically. Very good. Okay. Very good. All right. What is meditation? Why? What is meditation? Meditation is the process of experiencing a state of pure awareness. Remember, we talked about awareness and authenticity. You see how it's all tying in? And you'll see how this ties into the abundance, because all this has to be in line, and it doesn't take long. It's taking me longer to explain it to you than for you to do. Meditation is the experiencing a state of pure awareness. Why? Because you're halfway there with the breath. And when you're silent, that's what you experience. Next, meditation is really the art of doing nothing. Nothing. When you're in meditation, if someone comes in the room and you're sitting quietly with your eyes closed and said, are you meditating? And you go, yeah. No, you're not meditating. Right? When you're meditating, you're neither here nor there. You're in this state, a very quiet state, silent state. The mind's not jibber jabbering, wondering what's to eat next for dinner. Nothing. Right? Next, it reduces stress. Now, there's scientific study about meditation, right? How it really changes the waves in your the hertz in your body and megahertz and all this stuff. Scientists can prove all these things, But then you can also prove it by how your blood pressure, your heart rate, everything starts to, and you become calmer naturally if the meditation process is authentic, right? And you're totally aware, the stress will go. Now, if that sounds contraindicated, right? Being aware and go. Being aware means you're aware of your silence. When you're aware of your silence, you're not aware of anything else. So people could come by, Joe, whoa, clock's ticking. You won't hear it. At first you will, and you'll go back to your breath. Next, prayer, as we know, is good. It's okay to pray, but prayer is talking to God, isn't it? And meditation is listening to God. That's an old saying, right? Prayer is talking, meditation is listening. So we pray all the time, oh, please, God. Can you imagine poor God with people asking and begging for things in Gaelic and Mandarin? Millions of people around the world. Poor God, right? So if we're going to pray, and we're going to show you how to use the technique for abundance, and then we wonder why, hey, I've been praying, nothing's happened. And God's thinking, well, be quiet for 5 minutes and maybe you'll hear me. So you have a combination of your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual calming down naturally, because you're in a state of quietness, silence, and now you're able to internally listen to what God is trying to do. Now, that listen doesn't mean hear necessarily. It means through things in your environment. It happens all the time. We don't pay attention to it. We ask God, no answer, or we try to figure out it on our own. All right, so let's practice this. We're going to start with the grounding breath, and then we're going to go from there, okay? So we'll just do a couple of them for each because of a matter of time. And let's see, if everybody's ready, sit, legs. Now, I would like everybody, and I'll get into this in a moment, but I like for everybody to find a space that you're going to do this practice every day consistently, because you want your whole body, it's like the same like muscle memory. It's like in tennis or golf, they show you the same thing over and over and over until it becomes the natural thing you do. So when you sit at your space, make it a sacred space, then you know this is your time to reduce stress, your abundance time, and you'll feel it naturally. Okay, you can set up a little altar with candles or whatever you want to do. I'll show you in a minute how to do all that, but make it a sacred space, and then you can begin. Now, keep your feet flat, sit up straight, put your palms, hands up, palms up on your lap. Then put your hands. We're going to start out with the grounding breath. Right hand under this hand. Breathe in. Stretch it as far as you can. Hold the breath. Out. This one's coming up. The right hand's coming up. You're going to meet and switch. One more time. Out. Through the nose only. Stop. Switch. All the way up. Out. And palms up on your lap. Keep your eyes closed. When you're doing this, eventually you'll have your eyes closed from beginning to end. And when you open it, you're going to feel really fantastic. Okay. So one thing quickly, though, before we do the next one is, when you inhale, inhalation energizes your body and exhalation relaxes your body. Why? Because you're getting oxygen, and then you exhale, you relax. So when you come out, you'll be calm but alert to enjoy it. Okay, very good. All right, so next, okay, deep abdominal breathing, palms up on the lap. Breathe in, expand your tummy, expand it, even exaggerate. Exhale slowly. Everything will drop down. At the end, squeeze in and relax. Let's do one more. Deep breath in, expand your tummy, exhale, squeeze your tummy and relax. And just pause to enjoy that. Good. Okay, next we're going to do alternate nostril breathing. Thumb on the right nostril, breathe in the left, hold it, plug that up with your ring finger, exhale. Now breathe again to the right, hold, plug with the thumb, and out. And relax. Very good, very good. Now we're going to do pat on the back. Pat yourself on the back like this, okay? Close your eyes. Deep breath in. Hold the breath. And exhale. Squeeze your tummy in. Relax. One more time. Deep breath in. Hold the breath. Exhale. All the way to the end. Squeeze your tummy in. And relax. And bring your hands down, palms up. Sit for a second, enjoy that feeling. So that was for your upper lobes of the lungs, right? Very good. Now we're going to say the ah, oo, and ma. Okay? I'm going to do it with breath. So when you do ah, oo, and ma separately, then you just keep quiet and listen to the sounds in your head until they fade out. As that fades out, you'll be relaxed and in complete silence. If something you hear a tick, tick, tick or something like that, just go back to ah, ooh, ah. Okay? So we did this, right? Deep abdominal, this, palms up on the lap, and let's do the three ah, ooh, and ma. Okay? Breathe in first with ah. Ooh, breathe in. Ooh. Ma. Ma. And there you go. Very good. You know, these sounds, people may say, oh, that, you know, they'll laugh or sound funny sometimes. But when they do it, it's not that it's not funny anymore. But then they say, wow, this really works. I was giving a lecture at a hospital, inpatient hospital unit, for a group of surgeons. And my guy gave them a certain sound to use with them. It was called so hum. And we did it 3 times with the surgeons. So hum, just like that, because it's a very vibrationally good for your system, right, as well. And when they got done, first of all, it sounded like the roof was coming off the hospital. The one surgeon came, he was like 6'7", a big guy. He comes over to me and goes, Joe, I feel so calm. So that really works. So now he tells me before he does surgery, he does that 3 times and it calms, levels him right out. So I teach these things not because I'm bored, but because they actually work. And I want to share them with people so you can try to use them. I've used these with patients and families. I didn't give long talks. They just would use them and it would work. And then they were happy with the results. Okay. Next. All right, here we go. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you how to do your practice. I use what's called God's bowl. This is where the abundance really kicks in the overdrive. So before you do your practice, and I said, set up your little sacred space. You can use a candle or whatever it is you want. And I'll show you in a minute what I use. And then let's find out what this is. What's God's bowl, right? What is God's bowl and how to use it? So one of the things I've noticed, and this has worked consistently over the years when I teach this. In fact, it's so consistent with results. I'll be walking around at work and people will go, Joe, the bowl, Joe. So why do I call it God's bowl? because we try as human beings to pray for abundance, all those things, right? We need this, Lord, 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 we need, please, please, please. And then we think we can figure out how to do it all the time, right? There comes to a point, you know, that saying, let go, let God. Well, that's easy to say. People say, you better let go and let God. And then you're like, geez, almighty God, how am I going to get this in? Right? So we think we're doing the right thing. But remember all the keys, right? You want to be aware, authentically when you pray, authentically when you want abundance. This is important. Awareness. If we're not aware of these things, that how are we going to change? So the breath and these things helps you become this, and you get to offer it up to the Lord in the God's bowl. Okay. Remember awareness. It's funny because I was in church yesterday. Before the sermon, they said, please shut off all your phones and, be respectful. As soon as it started, beep, beep, boop, bop, beep, this guy's phone went off. And it took a while to shut it off. So that happened. It started again with the sermon. Another one, beep, 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 totally unaware. You would think you'd be aware after the first one was embarrassing. So awareness is important. We think we're aware, but a lot of times we're not. Okay, so you have God's bowl. What do you do with it? Okay, and why do you use it? You use it because it's a chance to let God do his business, right? It's not sometimes we have to say, please, I need the help. Ask and you shall receive, isn't it? That's the theory. Now we put it into actual, do you actually believe that? Put it into practice. Let God do God's business. There's a story about a group of people from the West that went over to see Mother Teresa in India. And so they said, she's not here. She's in the streets helping the poor. So the guy went there and two business people, and they said, listen, Mother, what are you how are you doing this? I wouldn't do this for $1 million. And she said, I wouldn't do it for $1 million either. I wouldn't do it for two. I do it for God. So why don't you let God do his business? Good day. And she left him there. So let God do his business. Okay, how do you do that? All right, so here's the suggestion. Here's what I use. You get a candle. I have a candle. You can use one of these candles, right? I use a fake one because I don't want to set my house on fire. Use that. And then you can use, here's my bowl, the bowl. Okay, so then you write down the things that you really need in your life, the things that are abundant to you, health, wealth, whatever it is. Write it. It's sincerely. It's coming out of your heart. You fold it up right there. You put it in the bowl and offer it to God. Then you start your practice. So what I have in my little altar there, when I do mine, is I have a cross, a crystal cross I got from Waterford Crystals in Ireland and brought it back. I have the bowl, I have a little flower, and I have that candle. And then I start my practice. Every time, and people call me, Joe, will you put in the bowl for this? And I said, no, it's not my bowl. You can do it yourself. That's why I'm teaching these abundance courses. So just remember that this is God's bowl. Because we think we can solve everything ourselves. And one of my teachers told me, which is really, I never forgot it. He said, God laughs on two occasions. One is when a doctor comes in and says, don't worry, I'll save you. That's when God laughs. Second is when people argue over land. This is my land. No, it's my land. God says, no, you're both fools. It's my land. Neither one of you. So let God do his business. And it also shows humility, doesn't it? Thank you. Okay, so we do the practice, and then what? What do we come up to? How are you going to remember these techniques? How are you going to remember this one, and then this one, and then this one? How are you going to remember that? Okay, well, if you want to remember how to do the breathing techniques, the bowl and the prayers, that's up to you. That's none of my business what you're praying for. But as far as the techniques go, you go to trustbridge.com/volunteering. And then when you get there, scroll down and you'll see this, which is a video of me going over this again. Okay, very good. So enjoy your abundant life. If there's any questions? Anybody have any questions? Yes?
A lot of comments, Joe. I must tell you, I a lot of positive comments about the breathing techniques. I know that Anna even shared a comment about the primordial sound. She's coming back on. I see her right there. Um, and I actually had a question
Sure.
because I was trained as a singer. I mean, you commented about my title of cantor. Um, and in singing, we're taught to breathe in through our nose and out through our mouth.
Mhm.
And you seem to illustrate the opposite of that. Is there a physiological reason for that, or?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, there is. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with taking a cleansing breath. There's nothing wrong with that. That's nice and calming as well. But the reason why I have people breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, because it's the best filter for good and bad air coming in and out. It's a great filtering system. So breathing in, you breathe in, it can filter something, but the stuff you exhale has to be filtered too. So you want to, it's a great filtering system, and it streamlines the oxygen in, right? So you're breathing in, and you can control it like that. There's nothing wrong with it, but this is the best way to relax, to in and out through the nose.
That's
Now,
great.
now it doesn't mean, as a singer, I know, because I was in a business where I had to be with singers, that when you breathe in, that's why I ask you, when you're doing the abdominal breath, expand that stomach, even if you have to fake,
Hmm.
because then you're opening it up, and boy, and as a singer, everything comes from your gut, right? It comes from deep down, and it'll expand that. You can even more. I had a guy that came to me, was joining the army, a young kid. He goes, I can't pass my breathing. I don't have asthma. I worked with him for a few weeks, passed it like they said, Joe, I'm running around, I'm not out of breath. It's just because his lungs weren't developed enough. I hope that answers your question.
It does. I'm amazed and grateful. Anna, did you have a question?
I had a comment and a question.
Okay.
So first I was saying that it's incredible that we do those sounds on a regular basis without even noticing that we do them to calm ourselves down. I always do the when I'm like after a long day, that's a
Right.
and then obviously with my babies, whenever I wanted to cradle them, I would do the M sound again
Mhm.
without even knowing. So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
My question was about God's bowl. So
Okay.
for that, because I truly want to incorporate that into our lives from now on. But for that, could it be any bowl that we have at home and designate it as God's bowl, or we need to have a specific one?
No, whatever you use, the same one. So
Okay.
whatever you say, this is God's bowl. I try to get something that, you know, for me, that I showed, if I was before God, I was offering it. This is respectful bowl. This is the bowl. Now, but it can be any bowl, because
Okay.
whatever God, everything's God's. So it doesn't make any difference. But it's how you make that bowl be God's bowl.
Got it.
And of course, it's accepted that way. But it's you putting the importance on that
Mhm.
bowl, and not that it's the bowl. Doesn't matter what it's made out of, where it came from, nothing. But
Mhm.
that it belongs to God.
Got it. I love that idea.
That's how the
There's a
abundance. Once you're clear, the abundance comes in normal. But don't try to figure out how it's coming. That's
Exactly.
not your business. That's why I said let God do His business. Mind your own business. Just put it in the bowl. Any other?
Martin Luther, who's he hated to be called the founder of the tradition, but we Lutherans take our name after him. Said once in his writings, we whatever we try to keep in our own hands, we lose, and whatever we put in God's hands, we end up keeping. And that's a terrible paraphrase, but it's sort of the same idea of letting God do what God needs to do and letting God be God. I have a couple more great theological connections for us who are watching from Zion and from other church Christian traditions. But I have an important question here from one of our members. It's not really, she made a comment, but I want to turn it into a question. If you have asthma or COPD or some kind of breathing condition that makes these breaths challenging, is there a way to adapt or modify or What would you recommend?
Well, there's a couple of things. One is you don't have to be, first of all, you don't have to be, aggressive with this. Very calm. It's like very slowly sniffing. And as you sniff in and out, it's your action. You're making a cause, first of all. And also the sounds. And then what I would do if people couldn't do these sounds, and I work with hospice patients for that reason, I would do it, or I have a family member, and they would just relax. And I would work with COPD patients with a certain sound, and it would, when they would get where the point where they're, this sound would actually calm them down and relax them. There's a video that we have with music therapy, and I'm working with one of the patients, and he said, Joe, that sound really, I can get to sleep at night when I start to have a hard time breathing, and it puts me right out. He always would request that sound. He would be able to do it at first, but as his breathing got worse, he asked someone else to be able to do it. Just doing the breathing for them, you put so much authentic attention to them, they can feel your authentic love. I have had many experiences where I've been with patients at the end of life. I never said a word to them. I would breathe and I'd have an intention and they respond. I had a lady who was very bitter about dying, very bitter. And people, the nurses didn't, when they were going in, they said, she's abusive, she's bitter, and she was actively dying. So when I went in there, I tried to work with her, would do some techniques on her feet to relax her, still bitter. When I went up to her, I finally said, this is enough. I was aware it's enough. So I took a deep breath in. I looked at her, didn't say a word. As I exhaled, I thought in my head, I love you. And I turned away. As I was leaving, she lifted her head up and said, I love you too, and then passed away peacefully. I didn't have to say anything. You can just, the breath allows you to be present. And when people have those conditions and they can't do it, this is your way of bonding with them, and it'll relax them. It'll help them anyway.
That's such a great way to envision. I look at it as pastoral care, but even just person to person care. I'm just that is so profound for me to just think about sitting and breathing with somebody and having an intention and letting that silence speak. I say a lot of times, especially when we're in worship, that silence is a practice, and if you're not used to it, it's very off-putting at first to sit in extended periods of silence, and our culture doesn't lend itself to that. So certainly that's something to work on, and I appreciate all of the contemplative communities that really use silence as one of their core practices. I have to tell you, I mean, I took notes the entire time, but I kept thinking about you. You said you were in church yesterday. I was in church yesterday. We received ashes on our forehead,
Yeah.
and I thought about what that is. That we are dust. We come from the dust. We return to the dust. And what is it that gives us life? God creates Adam from the dust, but it isn't until God breathes life into Adam that Adam becomes a living, breathing human being.
Right.
And that to me is so foundational to not just our body and our physical nature, but our spiritual nature too. I think that there's so much there to think about. The breath gives life. You mentioned a 40-day practice of doing this. I want to commend our members and people in the Zion community to let's do this together and make this a Lenten practice. And after the joy of Easter, let's see where we are in terms of our feeling of abundance and how much healthier and calmer we feel on any given day. I think that's a wonderful thing.
Sounds beautiful.
So I'm so grateful. I don't want to extend our time. I just want to mention a couple of things for the people who are watching. Next week on Wednesday, we resume our prayer at the end of the day at 8 o'clock. But prior to that, at 7, Pastor Potter and I, mostly Pastor Potter, will be leading a study of Bible stories that have to do with the number 40. So right away,
Wow.
if you have any knowledge of Bible stories, Noah should come to mind, wandering in the wilderness, both the Israelites and Jesus. So you'll want to be a part of that. 7 o'clock right here on Facebook Live, and then we'll follow that with prayer at the end of the day, with a Lenten theme and a Lenten flair to it. We really are filling up our calendar with wonderful educational events, this being one of them. We've reserved the third Thursday of the month for Trustbridge, and it's a wonderful partnership that we share, and I'm so grateful. But I'll come back to my gratitude in just a minute. Beginning March 4th, which is the first Thursday of the month, we're having tech fundamentals classes that are geared towards seniors but open to anybody. So you can check our website for that. It'll be about using Zoom and your smartphones and unlocking all of those features. Starting also the second Thursday of the month, March 11th, Pastor Potter will be leading a group from grief to wholeness. So this will be a support group for those experiencing any type of grief. Could be the loss of a loved one, or the loss of a job, or circumstances, or relationships. If you know that you're grieving, or you know someone who is, it'll be a hybrid format. So you'll have the opportunity to meet in person if you choose, or to join the meeting over Zoom. They'll happen together, so you'll be able to see the Zoom participants as well. We hope that we'll have the technology set up. Well, I know we will, but we'll get it set up and ready to go. So there, right away, 3 Thursdays out of the month, something to do. Lots going on, and we're just blessed to have wonderful organizations that share our values and that share our love and our commitment to the community. Trustbridge is top of that list, and I've been really blessed by my partnership with Anna, and now Joe with you. We've had some wonderful co-presenters for other topics such as the 5 Wishes. Trustbridge is a really wonderful organization, and so broad in its reach and intentional in its ministry. I'm just grateful. I really am grateful for the positive partnership that we have. I'm grateful for both of you for taking time out of your schedule to be with us this evening. I can guarantee that we will have lots of views over the next couple of weeks as we share the word about this presentation, and just the wonderful theological connections that we have with these basic functions of breathing and sound, and prayer and meditation. It's all so very timely for us in this 40 days of Lent, and I know that's not an accident. So I really want to extend my thanks on behalf of our pastor and our congregation and community, to you, Joe, to you, Anna, as always. What a privilege, what a pleasure. And thank you to all who joined us live. Thank you to all who are watching this later on. We pray that you would be blessed in your days, in your hours, in your minutes, that what you do and who you are would give glory to God, and that you would be safe, and you would know that God loves you and is telling you and calling you to pour that love out for others. So wish you blessings on your night, and may it be a peaceful one. And until we gather again, be well, be safe, and may God go with you. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen. Have a good one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.